Hello everyone, I'm back after a rather long break. I got a new job, I got a dog, and things have been busy. But let's jump right into it. So I think we're going to continue with this book, and we've completed the interpreter. What we're going to do now is to make a bytecode virtual machine. So this is going to consist of two things, I expect. One is the virtual machine itself, and we're going to use Odin to write it, not Rust. I want to try Odin, and also this part is written in C, as you can see. And I'm just worried that there might be some conflicts between the memory models in Rust and C if I try to do it in Rust. So I want to try to do it in something closer to C to begin with, and I don't want to do it in just C, so I'm doing it in Odin. And yeah, that's it. So that's the first part, the virtual machine. The second part is probably something like a compiler that takes source code and turns it into bytecode for this virtual machine. So let's get started. Okay, so here we are. Here's an overview. So here is the interpreter that we already wrote, which had a parser, which turned that into syntax trees, which was then run by the interpreter. Now we are going to make a compiler, which will target a virtual machine that will also implement. So the compiler will take source code and turn it into bytecode for the virtual machine. And let's get started. So I think we're writing the virtual machine first. So I'm actually gonna make a new folder that we'll just call VM. And here we will need to make a new file that we will call main.odin. So I also have the Odin documentation and things like that up here, and some reference for the core library, because I do not remember everything. Let's make a package called VM, and I will turn Copilot off because it's going to be annoying. And this first program that we're writing over here doesn't do anything, it just returns. So we will have something like this. It doesn't return a value, so that's basically it. He's also including a header, which includes some other stuff. We won't do that just yet. But apparently it includes null values, size t, and boolean, and things like that. We should have that already. Let's try to run this. And it worked. Let's also, I think it's, how is it? Core colon format. Then we can even say print hello. And it's working. Okay, but here we have a program that is basically equivalent to this. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna start is define some operations that our program can do. So let's so let's define chunk.odin, and here we are going to need to make some kind of enum. I don't know how to make enums in Odin, so let's look at that. So apparently it's like this, a name, and then colon enum, and then things. So we're gonna have our opcode enum here, which for now just has op return, and it's also separated by commas. So like that. If we go back to main, then I think we should be able to say import chunk import chunk maybe, and then let's also import format, and we don't need semicolons in this language as far as I remember, but now we should be able to say print line opcode dot op return. Let's see if that works. Path does not exist, chunk. Okay, so we need to find out how we import from files, local files. So perhaps we have to also say that this belongs to the VM package. And it still doesn't like that. Do we need to do like this? Do we need to do like this? Or maybe it is, we have to do like this. Okay, so after like way too long, it turns out you don't even need to import it. Somehow it's smart enough to, but if I go here and I call it something else, then it doesn't work. And can I then say import chunk? No, it doesn't like that either. So maybe then I would have to say Odin build anyway. Let's just do this, and then when we say Odin run, it doesn't work. Let's say Odin run again. There we go. And it just prints out like this string. Okay, great. Let's try to get a little bit further. So what we want now is a new struct, which is called a chunk, and it has just a pointer to some bytes. So let me check out how it is. A pointer is annotated. I am not sure. Yeah, so there's something special in Odin about how pointers are. Okay, so here we go. So a pointer has like this, it's not a star, it has this hat thing, and then for an operand of x, pointer type t, the pointer in direction, that's the variable. Okay, so like you put it in front, it's the pointer, you put it on the right, it is dereferencing. So we want a chunk, and I guess you do like this, it's a struct, and it has some code which has type pointer to unsigned. Let's try to make it build. It does actually build. Let's try to make a test chunk. I suppose it's like this. Or we can even do chunk, and I just wanted to have the nil pointer, and let's try to print that. See if that works. It does work. Okay, great. Can we also make some bytes? Let's see. I believe it's called make. There's also, yeah, let's try that. So let's say code is make an array of U8s with size 4 bytes, and then I want to put that in there. Let's try to run that, and probably we should say defer delete code, and I have to remember not to use semicolons, so it doesn't like that for some reason. We can't do an integer, right? Let's try that. Let's comment this one out, this one. This should work. Does not work. Like, what if I do this? It's literally the same thing. Undeclared name. Ah, I see the point. The problem now is because I've got to do that. Now it's running. Let's try this one. Okay. Now we make it U8. We see what happens. Cannot assign. Okay, so an array is not quite the same as a pointer. Let us something like pointer to array. No. What if I take the address? Is it like that? No, it doesn't do that. Interesting. So perhaps we shouldn't use a raw pointer. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change this to be a byte array, and then this code should work. Let's try to run it, and indeed we see some stuff. Let's also fill it. So let's say for I0, I less than 6, I plus plus. Let's say that code I is equal to I. Let's try that one. And it doesn't have this guy. You have to do that. And so how do I cast? How do I cast things? I simply write cast U8. Okay, so there we have it. It's a working. So now he's adding a couple of other things, capacity, count. It's a little bit something we don't need in Odin. We could just make a dynamic array instead, actually. So how about we do that? So here we go. Let's make a dynamic array and let's try to run it again. Save everything, then run it. That worked. So let's have a look at the make again. We can also ask about the capacity. So like we can say, what is the capacity of the code? Suppose it's like that. And similarly, what is the, no, not that, but the length of the code. So anyway, Odin already has dynamic array, which is basically what he's trying to make here. He wants to make a dynamic array. And we don't need to think about this allocating if the array is full. So anyway, I think let's stop there for now. This was just a super quick video to get back into things, and then I will see you in the next one.